the article was talking about using video to recruit people to your place of business as a recruitment tool for employers. But I was thinking about the ways to use that as either a small business owner or somebody that's working from home. And exactly, working from home. And how do you leverage that? And so even a small video like this, I mean, I'm recording this on Zoom. You can do a live Facebook, you can do something on LinkedIn live, but just getting out there and sharing, what's going on in your world. How is your business? What services can you offer your business if you're in a retail situation and your doors are closed? Can you do at-home calls? Are you offering one-on-one consultation for people? Are your services such that it does require sale of a product? How does that product help people in this time? Get on there and just talk for a few minutes. Be yourself. Obviously, this is very raw. My children are trying to break into my office, even though they know what the door closed means. But take that time to share, because lots of people are online looking for things. B, you might find that you're in a place or in a capacity to make either a new business connection or perhaps even to hire somebody, even though structure looks different and people are looking for work right now. Something like that, just to be thoughtful. And what another benefit of putting a video like this up on Facebook or LinkedIn is that those two platforms prize video content because it stops people from scrolling past you. And so if you are creating video content and putting it up, then it tends to be promoted up higher in the feed of content that other people can see, or more people have the capacity to see it. So, we're at Edge Theory at Soundboard, very cautiously optimistic about where this is going to go for, the working world. This April 2020, you have a couple of choices. You can, take advantage of all this home time and just binge Netflix, or you can get out there, be yourself, network, use Soundboard content to share. So you've got good content going out all the time. Take it upon yourself to share things like this type of video, to encourage others to make it so that you're visible during this season. And that way, when you come out on the other side of this, you're not looking back at your feed and thinking, oh, that was a wasted opportunity because it's blank. Or I kind of might have overdone it with all I did was talk about my product and I just became a billboard for people and I didn't show that I was listening and engaging and sharing. So thoughts to think about in this time. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to share my screen here again after thank you for allowing me to share. So let's talk about Soundboard. And again, I've got some repeat visitors on the webinar here. So I'm going to, D, okay, we'll get to that. And D, if you'll drop your email in, I know you've attended several of these. I want to make sure that you, get what you need so I can email you some of those things too. But if you will, bear with me while we talk about Soundboard. So Soundboard is, of course, the kind of central hub that we've built where you can go and get content that you need. We've got many, many, many different sources curated here for you to pick from so that you've got, again, that authoritative content going out through your social media channels. So what we're looking at here is kind of the home screen of Soundboard. And what I wanted to do is take some time to talk today about some of the other features that you may or may not be aware of that Soundboard offers. And then we can get to, how to use it with our new browser extension on some of these other platforms. So what we're looking at here is the Soundboard home screen. And so to get to this, you go to share.soundboard.social. And when you are at that website, it will ask you to log in. And then when you are, sorry, I'm trying to make this little annotation thing stay up here so it's easier to follow my mouse. So when you log in, you're going to see this group of articles that are from all around the web here. I think that it's appropriate to talk about, what's going on in the world. This is April. April is National Stress Awareness Month. How on point is that? And so I've just searched for stress here. Here's a nice little piece of news. A 20-minute dose of nature can cut your stress. Can windowed work help ease the stress of working from home? All right, so when you find something that you're interested in sharing, you click on it. On the right here, we have the whole article for you to preview. And then on the left, we've got some suggested messages and some appropriate hashtags. Now, keep in mind, these hashtags are sourced from a search engine that's looking for active, reliable, useful hashtags so that you're getting in front of other people and joining in the conversation. So let's see here. What's a good phrase? Anyway, you pick a suggested message, okay, and this is going to copy it to your clipboard, and then you have the capacity to share this message to any and all of these social media platforms. Now, we're on the desktop. If you're on your mobile device and logged in, you'll also see a texting icon here, and you can text content to people. Think of this as a way to touch customers, to touch leads with content. It's either a one-to-one thing. Hey, I saw this and remembered what we were talking about last week and wanted you to see it. Or it's a one-to-many where you're sharing it through your profiles and broadcasting it to your audience. Okay, so that's how that works. But I want to take a minute here to also talk about, we've got a built-in feature here into Soundboard. If you pick the Pro or the Platinum plan, we've got a newsletter creation tool. And this is pretty helpful because, it's interesting how email as a 50-year-old technology has kind of come back full circle in the world, because for the longest time people said, well, I don't want to get all these emails. I want to go out to the web and I want to investigate these different places where people are getting content from. And I want to see what they have to say. And now that it's gotten so big and so much social media and, so many different places where you can get content, that people have kind of come back around full circle and said the email newsletter is actually a useful thing, because I can go to my inbox, I can sign up for the newsletters from the sources that I care about. I'm getting headlines, I'm getting articles, I'm getting pieces of information every day in one place, and I can check it and move on with my day. So this is that kind of mentality. We've built in a simple to use newsletter function that fits within your Soundboard subscription. It is not as robust as a MailChimp or something like that, but we are trying to make it so that you have nice looking HTML newsletters going out. I'm not going to walk through the whole creation process, but I do want to just pull up a test one that I created. So this is the final result. It's a pretty nice looking newsletter. You can customize the graphic that goes up top. Of course, all the text here and here is yours to input whatever you like. You can drop your own links in here if you want. There is some text customization to change the appearance of it. But then the bulk of the email there's several different templates, but it's Soundboard content. You pick and choose what you want to go into it. And so you're sending out this nice looking newsletter. And then there's a field below where you can put whatever text you want. When it's sent, you now have a metrics button here. And if you have a bunch of contacts in here, all right, it's going to give you a line by line metrics of, did it send? Do you have a bad email address for them? Did it bounce? Did it hit their spam folder, which should not happen? Did they open it? And then did they click an article within it? Okay. So you're going to get a nice metric here of how your newsletter is performing, and then a line by line. And you can see if you've got somebody's wrong email address, or, if somebody said, hey, I'd love to receive it, but then they never open it, it's a way to check up on those things. So pretty nice feature there. It's a fairly simple thing to create. we tried to make it so that, you can use that soundboard content to make something just within a handful of minutes and send it out. So that's a pretty nice feature. What we've looked at so far is, and I'm happy to take questions if you got them, but what we've looked at so far is the way the soundboard works when you're logged into Soundboard. Keep in mind, this is not an app that you have to download from the App Store. This is just a login-based website. It works great on your phone, works great on desktop. What I'm about to show you now is an additional feature that the Soundboard can do, but this only works on desktop because of the way the browser permissions operate, okay? So what we built is a Chrome extension. So we're gonna look for the Chrome Web Store. And what the Chrome Web Store does is it lets you plug in new functionality into your browser. Everything from what you see to eBay to little things you've never heard of. So if you search the store for Soundboard, we are the first thing that comes up. Okay, we're not the funny elf or whatever that is. I have a test version of the browser on my, or a test version of the extension on my browser, which is why I have the Add to Chrome button, but you'll just click here and it'll plug in. It's something that runs in the background. You don't have to think about it again, but you will see a little blue bee up in your bar up there. And what happens is once you have that Soundboard extension installed, I'm going to go to LinkedIn, and you can find, or you will find, that a little search bar, Soundboard search bar, now pops up. You can put it wherever you want on the screen. But what the purpose of this is to give you access to your Soundboard account to search content that's you'd like to share with, again, two kind of tactics here. The one-to-many tactic, which is I'm going to just check out what's going on my LinkedIn feed. This is Makaja here, my friend who owns a hotel group who hasn't let anybody go. Pretty incredible. A little positive piece of news there. So that makes me think, do I want to share a piece of content about hiring or work retention? Something like that to share some good news. So as you scroll, you can figure out what is something that I'm interested in talking about. Certified personal trainers, nutrition, Zoom is in the news all the time. We're on Zoom right now. Whatever you think is something interesting. So let's capitalize on what Paul's talking about here, and let's look for cybersecurity. All right. So when we search for this term, our Soundboard pop-up is right here. We don't have to leave LinkedIn. This is very important, I think. Small businesses unprepared for remote working. Most don't provide cybersecurity training. Okay, so it's a helpful article. How do you protect, your business, your small business during this time? So here's, again, the workflow is the same. We've got these suggested messages. And we're on LinkedIn right now. So let's go ahead and share this to LinkedIn. We'll talk again in a moment about some different options here. But for now, we're going to do this one-to-many share. We want our network to see that we're engaged in this conversation. So we're going to share this post. We're going to share it with anyone. We're going to paste in our suggested message here. If you would like to add to this, customize it, change it up, however you want to do this, this is the place to do it. Will work well. And then you hit post. So you've completed this post, and then we can just close this window, and this brings us back to LinkedIn. That's the idea of how to use Soundboard to share relevant topical content with your audience, with the people that are in your network. All right, do that on the regular so that you're staying in front of eyeballs. Now, there's another way to do this. and that is to go to one-to-one and try to figure out what's something specific that I can share with somebody who I either want to continue to stay in touch with, B, somebody whose attention I'd like to get, either someone I'd like to hire or someone I'd like to be hired by or something like that, or just, trying to have a little bit more of a warm uh, opening statement to somebody than just, hi, here's my product. Okay, share with somebody things that they're interested in. So let's visit Makeja's profile here, and a different button pops up. You'll see on the bottom left here, we've got a new one that says share an article that interests Makeja. So I'm going to scroll down, and what's happening is the Soundboard extension is scraping this page for specific keywords and terms that will turn into helpful keywords, search terms for content and for articles. Okay, so I've done that. I hit share articles that interest Makeja, and now I know he lives in Jackson, Mississippi. He went to Pillow Academy. He's a CEO. He's invested in Mississippi. He's a product manager, very much into the hotel business because that's what he does. Okay, so let's find something that has something to do with something he's interested in. Okay. Now, I'm not going to take time to really dig through all these, but the point is that we want to share a piece of news with Makeja that shows, we're kind of sympathetic to what he's going through. We're interested in, what he's got going on. What you can do here is we pull up this piece of content, and let's see. This is a little bit of interesting information about what's going on in the hotel industry. We're going to hit the LinkedIn button, but this time I want to send as a private message, okay? So here we can put Makeja, and we can send this directly to him, and boom, he's got that. You can write your personalized message. I would recommend that versus using that suggested message. Otherwise, it's going to seem a little like, oh, where'd that come from? But you can send that to him and congratulations on your hard work with the hotel group. Here's an interesting thing that, other hotels are doing. Have you considered this? Something like that, just to start a conversation. So that's kind of the one-to-one versus the one-to-many. I also hope that the newsletter feature is something that can be helpful to you when you're on Soundboard. Keeping in mind that it's just another way to use, content as a touch point for customers and hopefully pre-customers. It is a lot of people just assume, well, people don't want emails. I think the stats, show different, that the email newsletter has really become a very interesting and more robust and more widely used piece of touch point for businesses and things like that. So consider those things. Anybody ever have any other thoughts, comments, questions before we break? I'll give you all a few minutes of your lunch break back. D, to answer your question of how to get started, basically you're going to do what we've done this morning, which is just go to share.soundboard.social, and you're going to log in with the password and email that you've created when you sign up for your account. And there is a tour that will pop up the first time you use it. You can make it pop up again here if you want to go through it again, Soundboard Tour. But it'll walk you through the steps of sharing the articles, which I've done. There is a help section here, which will take you to our FAQ section, which has lots of articles and things that we've written to make sure you know how to use every aspect of the platform. And finally, there's a little blue circle here in the bottom right. This will connect you directly to myself or somebody else on the team. And we'd be happy to answer any, kind of specific questions that you have as you're working through things. So I hope that has been helpful. Um, I hope that Soundboard is something that you can really lean on during the season to stay networked, to stay visible, to stay applicable, to show that you're sharing, that you're caring, that you're not just interested in talking about the product, but you're interested in helping people stay, healthy and plugged in. And I hope that you all stay healthy yourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for today, and hopefully we'll see you all on a future webinar.